All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Open. We are here Monday, July 29th, 3:46 p.m. Someone says, still pretty new, but has there been a time when it has been on time? I was on time this morning. Okay. I was on time. I was actually just finishing up another video. So it's like I was just talking to you guys, but not live. But now I'm talking to you guys live. So it's just been grinding all day. And I went to the gym this morning. I feel great, quite frankly. I went to the gym after the market open, got in a nice workout, got in a good sweat, and now we're here ready to end the market on the market close. Now, the interesting thing about the market close today is that the real thing we're seeing is a decent market, except for this bad boy. So small caps are the only one, along with Bitcoin. We'll talk about Bitcoin in a second. Small caps are what's taking a little bit of a beating today. Everything else is doing okay. It's not doing fantastic, not doing, incredible. It's not like the S&P is up 3% or anything. But this is the only one where there's a lot of weakness today. It's not being able to kind of recover from some of the momentum that it had last week. IWM right here at 222, down 0.95%. S&P, it's green. It's holding its momentum up 0.27%. And then QQQ up 0.45%. All three of them were green in the morning. Then slowly, all three of them went red. And then S&P and NASDAQ rebounded. IWM continued to stay red. Palantir, 27.17. Palantir did get a $28 price target. It was up 2%. Now it's basically flat for the day. They also had a new partnership. I'll be talking about that more in the Daily Palantir episode, but they had a new energy deal that came out today. And as I was reading about it, it's a really interesting partnership. So seems like that company and Palantir are working in a variety of ways to implement different operational workflows from AIP into the company, which is why it was a multi-year deal. Netflix is down a little bit on the day. Amazon's up a little bit. SoFi's down because IWM is down. Bitcoin is down. We'll talk about what's going on with Bitcoin. Tesla is the leader today at 231. Tesla up 6%, continuing to gain momentum. And that's for two reasons. Number one, that's because Piper Sandler upgraded them to $300. Piper Sandler really laid down the pipe when it came down to Tesla stock today. And then on top of that, Morgan Stanley, I didn't notice that in the morning, Morgan Stanley said, hey, this is our top pick for the rest of 2024. I mean, look, when Morgan Stanley says you're the top pick, and when FSD 12.5 continues to be even more real, then there you go. You're going to have people that decide we want to get a little bit more exposure to Tesla. So I think Tesla's had a really good day just from those upgrades, and the dip at 215 was nice. Broader market, not really a crazy day outside of small caps taking a little bit of a tumble, down 1%. Now let's talk about Bitcoin, because I think that's the big story of the day, and then we'll keep going from there. Magic says 12.5.1 is also rolling out to customers. Yeah, Elon said in the next 10 days it'll officially be live to everybody. So, I mean, dude, if it's the real deal, it's the real deal. I need to go on a ride in FSD. I still haven't done a regular ride in FSD, much less 12.5. So I'm going to figure out how to get into a Tesla with FSD 12.5 and really try it out, because I mean, people are saying it's the real deal. People are saying it's the real deal. And so I want to experience it myself and see what happens. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin. Something very interesting is happening here on Bitcoin. I am not fully sure that the US government is potentially selling their Bitcoin, but $2 billion worth of US Silk Road Bitcoin moved on chain. What that means is essentially the US government is transferring $2 billion worth of Bitcoin that they have. They have 210,000 Bitcoin in total onto actual exchanges. Now, when this happens, we tend to see an OTC market auction when these entities, this is what happened with Mt. Gox. This is what happened with Germany. When they bring their Bitcoin on chain, this is what you tend to see happen. Some more details on this as well. So this was about 29.8 thousand Bitcoin, approximately 2 billion. The transfer went to a fresh wallet by looks of it, which typically is the precursor of an OTC related auction. And this is why Bitcoin is down 4% on the day. Bitcoin currently has 12.8 billion worth of Bitcoin in their custody. And so about 2.8 billion of that they ended up putting on chain. Now, one could argue this is not Bitcoin being sold. One could argue that the United States is getting into a partnership agreement with Coinbase, which was announced about a month ago. And as a result of that partnership with Coinbase, Coinbase is going to be the institutional custodian for the United States Bitcoin. That is one of the theories that is out there for why they are doing this. The other theory that is out there is that because Trump is pro-crypto, the Biden administration is trying to hedge back against Trump's comments by selling Bitcoin. I don't think that makes sense for two reasons. Number one, if you hated the Democrats for being anti-crypto. Them selling the Bitcoin that the United States has is not going to make you want to vote for the Democrats. I think you're more inspired to vote for Trump at that point if you're a crypto voter. Number two is that Kamala is communicating with various crypto companies that came out over Sunday, and she's trying to, quote unquote, reset the relationship that the Democrats have with the crypto industry. And that's probably why she didn't speak at the conference, because she wouldn't know what to talk about. But if she's going to reset the relationship, maybe that's going to be productive. So I kind of don't think the US is doing this to get back at Trump, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but I also don't even think they're fully selling it yet. This is the precursor to what it looks like after you sell or before you sell. And I hope to God that they're not selling, because the United States selling would be absolutely insane. The United States hit 35, let's 10x that, 35 trillion in national debt today. It was 34.9 trillion yesterday, 35 trillion in national debt. I think the $2 billion of Bitcoin that they're selling, it's the only asset as a hedge against money printing. And eventually, I do think that'll be worth, over the coming century, multiple trillions, which is worth 2 billion today. So I think it would make no sense to actually sell it. If they were doing that, it would be really sad, but I hope they're not doing that. Now, another thing about Bitcoin today that was also just like, it's something that makes you think. Mr. 100, we talked about him on the channel. Mr. 100 is a public address that has been buying 100 Bitcoin every single day. Over the past 3 days, he sold 2,020 Bitcoin, which is about 2.8% of their stash. Some people are saying this is Jeff Bezos. Some people are saying it's Zuckerberg. It's got to be a billionaire who can afford to buy 100 Bitcoin a day. Like, that's obviously a lot of money if you're spending that much every single day. I mean, 6.8 million bucks a day on Bitcoin is not easy to do. So if you have that capital, you've obviously accumulated a decent amount of wealth. Selling 2.8% of your stash, maybe because you knew the US was about to bring crypto on, some of their crypto on the exchanges, and they were about to sell it. And so you're kind of hedging a little bit by selling some of your Bitcoin, or something is going to happen. Again, this account, Mr. 100, has been buying religiously throughout the past year. So it is a little concerning that they're selling right now, and maybe we're going to see some new news pop up. But those are kind of the main updates that we're getting in the context of Bitcoin. Thomas says, I think it's China. That would be interesting if it's China, given China has banned Bitcoin. But it's someone. Either it's a government, or either it's a very rich individual. I don't think the United States is legit going to sell their Bitcoin. If they do, it's going to be ugly. Tesla right here at 232. I think a lot of people are going to get upset at the Democrats, and they're going to vote for Trump just because of that. But I also think the U.S. it would just be a stupid thing to do. And I think the U.S. knows the value of crypto more than any other country in the world, given we have the biggest crypto thriving industry outside of like Dubai in the United States. So whoever makes that call, I think it would just be a very bad decision. But we'll see if that plays out. We'll know publicly in the next coming days. Someone said on Twitter, it was funny. Someone said that the government started selling and they didn't realize there was a public blockchain and everyone can see everything. So they were like, they know we're selling? How do they know we're selling? So it'll be really funny to see if they end up holding it or if they actually do sell it. So 100 Bitcoin a day. Correct. Mr. 100, 100 Bitcoin a day. It's a lot of money they're spending on Bitcoin. So seeing them sell today was also just interesting to see, given the United States started putting some of their Bitcoin on the exchange. SoFi at 735. SoFi is going down with small caps today. Again, Tesla's up. Short QQQ is still down for the day because the NASDAQ is up, but it is recovering a little bit of their losses that they had this morning. Semis are taking a bit of a hit as well. Semis, we have, everything's red except On Semiconductor. Now, On Semiconductor had a decent earnings. They didn't like crush earnings, but they had a decent earnings, and I guess the street is rewarding them for that. Up 12% on the day. Intel down 1%, SMCI down 2%, AMD basically flat. Nvidia down 1.28. Nvidia was green in the morning. Lam Research is down. Dell is down. Micron is down. Marvell is down. TSM is down. Qualcomm is down as well. They're not all down like 3 to 4%. It's like 1 or 2%, but they are still down today as the market rotates a little bit more just into the NASDAQ. My average on Bitcoin is 17,000. Yeah, well, June 2022, that was the time. That was the time to buy a little bit more Bitcoin. And obviously, it's appreciated a lot since then. I think Bitcoin still has a great bull market coming in to the rest of the year. And I don't think the U.S. government selling really stops it, but it does make people a little annoyed, right? And as a result of that, you might see some more weakness. I want to play this clip right here on Apple and why there are some people that are thinking of selling their Apple as we get into the market close and get a little bit of a perspective on why Apple potentially may be a little juiced up at this price right now. All right, here we go.
On Friday.
Okay.
So basically, I mean, the story is still really great, but it's up 31% since April. And that's a really big move. And like every day, analysts are like climbing over themselves to raise targets and be positive. Whereas back in the spring, everybody hated it. And so to me, I think it's going to be really important to learn more about Gen AI, of course. Services, I think, are going to continue to grow 14% plus for the next couple of quarters. Mm-hmm. And China, probably one last bad quarter, down 8%. China decline last quarter, probably the same. That all being said, the stock has had a nice run, and I think it's just proven. It's now 6.8% of my portfolio. It's still really big.
I hear you. I mean, the latest report is that these big AI initiatives are going to arrive a little later than anticipated, which our Steve Kovac, who covers this company, as all of you know, has been following today as well. So what do we know about this, and to what degree do we think it matters? I go back to when, we were sitting at WWDC, and the stock has changed a lot from that moment that we were sitting next to each other.
Yeah, and Scott, this is important because what's going on here with our artificial intelligence rollout at Apple is it's really tied to what people think the upgrade cycle of the next iPhone line will look like. So the report we're getting today is some of Apple Intelligence features, that's what they're calling their AI features, aren't going to be ready when the new iPhone software launches in September. Instead, according to a Bloomberg report over the weekend, it's going to come in October. And to be clear, guys, this is not a delay. Apple said that AI is going to launch this fall or, quote, later this year in terms of the ChatGPT integration. But some caveats. We just don't know which AI features are going to launch first. It could be many months, even into next year, before everything they announced at WWDC is available on your iPhone.
And again, the market didn't really care too much about this, right? The market kind of shrugged it off today, but it does go to show Apple being up 31% year to date. Really, the market's giving it that momentum because of this eventual AI wearable or AI, iPhone that's coming out that's going to get the market excited. Here's what I mean by the market likes this. So here's a company called BAI. They just raised $7 million for a wearable AI assistant that learns from your conversations. This is the stuff that's scaring me a little bit. I don't know if these are going to be startups that have a realistic moat in the coming year, especially when most people are just going to use their iPhone talking on Apple. Not an app on the iPhone, but the iPhone itself that's going to get smarter from the conversations or whatever else you do. And then these wearable things, I mean, are you not going to wear your Apple Watch because you're going to wear this? Or are you going to blend this with your Apple Watch? And then what's the valuation here? They raised $7 million. I mean, this is in addition to the 1.5 million. You got to imagine the company's worth close to 30, 40 million. Is it really worth 30, 40 million? So a lot of these AI startups are getting funding in the private markets. And really, that's where I think there's a little bit of a bubble. In the public markets, I think Apple, Amazon, Google, they're all going to benefit so much from AI that their valuations are going to continue expanding because they have real cash flows. But in the startup market, not sure if those companies necessarily will be able to keep up the momentum. All right, here we go. 4 p.m., July 29th. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is once again closed. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got as the market is closed. First of all, earnings today. Let me check if there's anything interesting at all. I don't really think there's much after hours. We have, there's Tilray. I mean, I know some people, that's a weed company. Some people care about that. Symbiotic, that's an interesting one. But yeah, nothing really after hours today. Tomorrow, SoFi and PayPal will be live in the morning. And so tomorrow will be a big one in the market open. As we get into all that stuff. SoFi down 1%. Snapchat. Wow. Snapchat 1335. It was 15 last week. Snapchat, I'm be interested on Friday to see their earnings. They're basically flat on the day, 1335. S&P ends the day basically flat, up 32 cents. So nothing too crazy for the S&P. Small caps took the biggest beating today. IWM right here down 1%. If you ask me why do I think small caps took a beating, I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, last week they had a hell of a run. Over the past 2 weeks, they're up 15% compared to the S&P. So I would imagine there's some profit taking there. But in general, there's definitely going to be a bit of volatility before the Fed speaks. And once the Fed speaks and the market's kind of prices in a rate cut, maybe you start to see more momentum for IWM. But today, I think it was one of those just technical days where people are taking some profits and they're generating some cash. Bitcoin right here, 67,277. Palantir ends the day down about 0.29% at 27.10. Netflix as well, down on the day, 626. SoFi again, 733. Tesla, great day for Tesla, up 5.6%. Piper Sandler and Morgan Stanley upgrades. So right back to 230, up from 215, down from 270 or 250 before earnings. Google as well, up about 2% on the day. NVIDIA took a little bit of a hit. NVIDIA, along with the semis, down 1.31%. But overall, Max 7 did okay. Meta was up today slightly, well, basically flat, but it's up a little bit after hours. Microsoft was up a little bit. Apple up 0.13%. Amazon up 0.38%. Tesla up 5%. And then NVIDIA down 1.3%. Crypto stocks took a bit of a beating after Bitcoin fell. Again, Bitcoin fell from 70 in the morning down to 66.5 once the once it was known that the US government had put its crypto on exchanges, which doesn't mean they're going to sell, but it means they could sell. And that's what really was responsible for the fall. CleanSpark down about 5% of the day. Coinbase down 4%. Robinhood basically flat, 21.18, down 2 cents on the day. Cypher down 4%. Marathon down 5%. Ethereum 3,300. Bitcoin 67.3. And then Hut 8 Mining was down about 2%. So the crypto stocks took a little bit of a beating. MicroStrategy went from 1882 to 1689 today. So MicroStrategy as well getting hit as crypto comes down. PayPal is not on the 31st. PayPal is tomorrow. PayPal is tomorrow. I know Robinhood sent out some notifications to people saying that PayPal was today or PayPal was on Wednesday. PayPal is tomorrow right after SoFi. I mean, the numbers are all going to come out at 8 a.m. or 7:30. And then the conference call for PayPal, I think, is like an hour after SoFi's call. So they're all going to be happening at once. And we'll cover both of them tomorrow in the morning. Symbiotic. Let's take a look at that stock. Symbiotic is, wow, down 10%. Oh boy. Symbiotic is a $20 billion company. Wow. I didn't know it was worth $20 billion. I thought this was like a $2 billion company. Symbiotic year to date is down 30%. Over the past year, it's down 44%. Over the past 5 years, it's up 240%. And today it's down 12% after hours. Symbiotic, for those that don't know, this is a company. Let me pull it up real quick. I researched this a long time ago. Warehouse automation for high efficiency and agility. It's a robotics company, essentially. And it's done really well over the past 5 years, up 240%. But down today. It looks like they missed on EPS. Wow, it's down 14%. Let me get their exact numbers right now. Let me know in the chat if anyone has Symbiotic. I think they had a partnership with Walmart as well with robotics. That's what helped them last year, if I'm not wrong. Sales were 492 million versus 464 million. EPS was 2 cents versus 0 expected. So they beat on EPS. They missed on revenue. And that's why we're seeing the stock take a 16% decline after hours right now. David, thank you for the $7 super chat. All I want to know is, have you seen the Deadpool and Wolverine movie yet? Okay, I think you guys know me well enough to know that if I can barely watch a movie at home illegally on 123movies.com, I'm not watching Deadpool or Wolverine in the theaters. I don't even know. Like this is like this is Marvel, right? DC, Marvel. That's like I don't even know what Deadpool is, dude. All I know about Wolverine is there's like a, what do you call those things? There's like a spiky nails or whatever he has. Like I don't know anything about this world. I know nothing about this world. So yes, I haven't seen that movie yet. PayPal earnings is today while the conference call is tomorrow. No, PayPal earnings is not today. I think a lot of people got confused by it. PayPal earnings is tomorrow. Unless I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong about that. I'm pretty sure PayPal is tomorrow. Let me just confirm. PayPal. Yeah, PayPal's tomorrow. PayPal's tomorrow. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Still 8 a.m. in the morning. So we'll see that for 8 a.m. Yeah, I haven't watched Austin Powers as well. People were giving me shit over the weekend, be like, have you watched Austin Powers? I was like, no. I recognize some of the memes. Symbiotic now down 16%, but I've never watched Austin Powers. McDonald's actually had a decent day, up 3.76%. Again, their earnings, they missed on EPS and revenue, but the stock was hit coming into this call. So the $5 meal seems like it's going better. That's why that stock is up. And then obviously Tesla, big winner of the day, up 5.6% as well. So that's what we got in the context of earnings today. Again, no other big earnings. We'll see the rest of the earnings tomorrow as they start. But this is the big one that we're seeing right now. Let's get an update on small caps and kind of where we see small caps going, Morgan Stanley's perspective, and then we will continue to go from there.
Yes, says expectations for mega cap tech has gotten, quote, out of hand. Could lead to more downward pressure on that sector. Joining me here at Post 9's Morgan Stanley's Chris Toomey. Welcome back. Why is it out of hand?
Well, I don't. Yo, doesn't this guy look like Steve? Tell me this guy doesn't look like. I'm taking a picture right now and sending it to Steve. I think we just found Steve's doppelganger, bro. I think we just found Steve's doppelganger. Bro, tell me this does not look like Steve. I'm sending this to him right now.
I don't know that it's necessarily out of hand. I think it's probably gotten too far ahead of itself. We saw a situation where about 73% of return is coming from these mega cap companies. I think it was time for a breather. If you look at the kind of three different things we were concerned about the last time, we saw a fair amount of complacency with the market. It was just kind of grinding higher. Expectations going into earnings right now. Typically, you start to see those earnings come back about 4%. And now they were actually being raised about 1%. And now we've got that seasonality period where, markets typically, particularly risk markets, don't do very well.
So what do you take from the fact that you had this, I don't know, NASDAQ's down like 7%, whatever, from the high. Over the last month, I've got the Russell, which is ripped, and the Dow's up near 4% over the last month. What is more representative, do you think, about where stocks are going to go from here? What's happened with the NASDAQ or what's happened with everything else?
I think it's probably both, to be honest with you. I think what we saw was kind of those mega tech companies were way overbought, and you saw a lot of names that way oversold. And typically what that means is you've got an offsides where people are really long one names, really short other names. And what you can see is that pullback in those names that have done so well and those names that haven't done well shooting up. So if you look at the dynamics now, some of those names are actually oversold, and some of those names that have been up are now overbought. And you can particularly see that if you look at kind of short sale reports, names that are overly shorted, those are the names that are doing particularly well right now.
How would you characterize your sort of overall view of the markets as we sit here today?
I mean, I think they're probably extended. I think expectations for earnings are probably a little bit too rich. PE multiples are too rich. I think seeing these tech companies come down to earth is healthy. And I think it's presenting an opportunity within that 493 going into earnings where expectations aren't as high to actually start outperforming. So in our view, you're in a situation where you've got a lot of names that have done really well. Markets probably overcompensated for that growth. Expectations are too high. So you can even see that last week with some of those mega cap names that actually beat earnings, actually trading off because expectations were so high. Some of these names that have been ignored, where earnings haven't been great, those expectations are pretty low. Those are some opportunities to see the market actually kind of spread out and start doing better.
So what does that mean?
So again, kind of the core thesis that the companies that have been lost or really not participated in the bull run, they're starting to participate, and the NASDAQ is starting to consolidate. More importantly, this is Steve right here. You guys see him on the screen right now. He was on Finance Junkies last night. That's Steve. And then this is this guy, Chris Toomey. I'm telling you, they look the same. I just texted Steve. He said, I don't think I look like him. I think he does. I think we found Steve's doppelganger. There you go. There's Steve. And then boom, there's Chris Toomey. So I think he looks like Steve, bro. I think some of you agree with me. Most of you disagree, but some of you who see it, you see it. Some of you that see it actually see it. Okay, so that's what we got in the context of small caps. Now, Tilray earnings, for anyone who cares about this company, they've got results. They're up currently 9% after hours. Tilray, record financial reports, 26% net revenue growth. They reduced their debt by $300 million. Revenue $789 million, led by cannabis revenue of $273 million and beverage and alcohol revenue of $202 million. CEO says Tilray Brands also successfully completed 3 acquisitions, the 8 iconic craft brands from Anheuser-Busch companies. These acquisitions were strategic in fortifying Tilray's house of brands, strengthening our operations, and positioning the company as a leader across several industries. Tilray was a meme stock at one point, right? If I'm not wrong. Like, this was definitely a meme stock, I feel like, at some point. 5 years ago. Yeah, 2021. Look, it was at $4 in 2020, and it got to $30 in 2021. And then it came down. Now it's down 95% over the past 5 years. It's up 10% after hours. But interesting, 793 million in revenue. So what's the market cap on Tilray? Got a market cap of 1.5 billion. Wow. So they are doing half of their market cap essentially in quarterly revenue. There's obviously something about it the street is not happy about. Price of sales of 2. I don't want to say it's cheap because I haven't gone into the numbers, but the revenue they put up this quarter at least looks compelling. I'll have to dive deeper into this one. Volume was 23 million today, so it seems like people are trading it. It's definitely a penny stock below $5, but the bulls have won today, up 13% now on some stronger revenue growth. I'm sure some of you guys might have bought it before as well, right? It's I don't know if it's necessarily meme-ish right now because I don't know if it's like gone super up and down with GameStop and everything, but in 2021 definitely had some meme components to it. Okay, so the Google Donald Trump stuff, we do have an update on that. The VP of search spoke out about the issue. So remember this morning we typed in Donald Trump on Google and like we got nothing, or we got assassination, we got Truman. We didn't really see anything about Trump. The VP of search at Google tweeted about this issue, and apparently they fixed it for some people. So now if you type it in, it's not as like bad as it was before. One of the reasons is because they got a lot of public pushback this morning. But yeah, so this is what happened. Let me pull up the quote. It has a community note as well. I haven't read the community note, so let's see. So Anna Mostarik says, I'm the VP of search at Google. I'm devastated to see the acquisitions regarding the reliability and accuracy of our product in relation to the upcoming presidential election. People trust Google search to give them accurate answers and to provide the best links on the web, yada, 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 yada. However, it seems like we need to recalibrate what we mean by accurate. What is accurate is subjective, and the pursuit of accuracy can get in the way of getting things done. I feel like her including the word subjective is basically her admitting that some of the engineers got a little biased here. You can be assured that our team is working hard to ensure that we don't let our reverence for accuracy be a distraction that gets in the way of our vision for the future. This is the most corporate thing I've ever heard about just acknowledging a mistake. Community note says this person is not the VP of search at Google. This account is at best satirical, but doesn't self-identify as such. Okay, so never mind. This is absolute nonsense. See, this is the problem. Yeah, this is not the VP of search at Google. Dude, this tweet got a lot of views, 1.5 million views. A lot of people. This is why you need community notes. I actually thought this was the VP of search. I didn't know that was the VP of search. So basically, Google hasn't said shit about this yet. And in fact, they're letting a random VP of search parody account to go viral right now. But they have addressed and fixed some of the things. It got pretty bad this morning to the point where Elon tweeted that he was typing in Donald and like Trump wouldn't pop up after that. I mean, it was pretty bad. And another one where you typed in Donald Trump and you only got news for Kamala Harris. It was like some really weird stuff, but some of its stuff is getting fixed. Some of it is not getting fixed. Overall, not the best look in the context of Google. I did try this, but from the UK, which wasn't affected. Yeah. So internationally, some of it, people are not seeing the effects. In the United States, we are seeing some of the effects. But otherwise we're not seeing it. CrowdStrike partners estimate 20% cut in second half new bookings following tech outage. Morgan Stanley says, yeah. So CrowdStrike got a couple of price target increases and decreases today, up to 410 and as low as 385. I want to play one clip on CrowdStrike to give some context on what I think will happen as well. And there's a little bit of a bull and bear case here. I think the time to really touch it is after Q2 earnings, because we're going to see a revision downgrade. And if that's the case, then we should get hopefully a bigger of a discount. So here's an update on CrowdStrike.
CrowdStrike right there, up almost 3%. Company saying that over 97% of Microsoft Windows sensors are back online. Obviously, this was a massive story. You own it. Good. Correct. Yeah. Well, what do you think of it now? I mean, did you buy more when it went down as much as it did? Did you think about it? Did you own this in the T?
Correct.
You don't own it personally?
I own it personally.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you couldn't do anything in the ETF, obviously, but what about personally?
Okay, so here's how I feel about this. First of all, I own this stock personally at around $120. So I have a significant profit.
Mm-hmm.
The ETF does not, unfortunately, the ETF doesn't own it at that level. The ETF, the position in the ETF, it's a losing position right now. So I feel very badly for people who own the ETF and are in it versus myself, who I have it personally. This is what I said last week. If I was trading CrowdStrike, I would sell it. because that's the right thing to do.
You would sell it now?
If I was
Kramer, by the way,
trading,
called a bottom today
yep.
on SOTS.
Okay. If I was trading CrowdStrike, I would sell it. That has nothing to do with doing a fundamental analysis of the company. It's based on what you're seeing in price action and the fact that generally, when you have these experiences like Chipotle did years ago, like Boeing has had the last several years, it takes time to recover. But I'm not trading these names. I said that to you when I bought this company. I said that to you when I also bought Palo Alto Networks.
What does that mean, though?
I don't know. I'm investing in cybersecurity.
I understand that, but what does that mean? If I was trading it, I'd sell it. Like if I bought it, when? What's the cutoff?
The difference between trading CrowdStrike and investing in CrowdStrike is that price, when you're trading, dictates everything. So when you have a precipitous decline of 30%, price goes down 30%, you're trading it, you can't ignore that. You're taught as a trader that the first thing you remember is that your first loss is your best loss. If you are...
It's actually a really interesting principle. You're taught as a trader, your first loss is your best loss. I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think if you were trading CrowdStrike, you'd be out of the name by now.
Investing around the company, if you're doing pure fundamental analysis, if you believe in the long-term thesis of cybersecurity, then you say to yourself, I'm willing to absorb and accept a 30% loss because I believe not over the next several months, but over the coming years, this company will recover from it because they present something in their business model which is so overwhelmingly positive. And that's what I'm trying to do with cybersecurity, Palo Alto and CrowdStrike. I'm trying to be an investor, not a trader.
Steph, you take a look at this one?
Yeah, I always take a look at the number one player.
Did you think about buying it when it was down as much?
I did.
Why didn't you?
Because I think they're going to have to do a lot in terms of discounting. We don't know the churn. We don't know the legal issues. And it could be an overhang for a long period of time. That being said, if it were to sit here for a while, maybe even go down another 10%, absolutely. This is the number one player in the industry. That is exactly my investment philosophy. I always buy the number one on sale. Now,
the number one? Wait.
No,
wait.
Yeah.
You don't own Fortinet anymore?
While you were gone, I sold it.
He's back.
Wow.
He's back.
Yeah, she's not bullish Fortinet. I've seen some reports about Fortinet that makes me a little bearish on Fortinet as well. It's not the number one with CrowdStrike or Palo Alto. But yeah, I think that sums up my thoughts. Like if you're in CrowdStrike now, you believe cybersecurity is a growing TAM and you're willing to give CrowdStrike the time they need and hopefully pick up shares a lot cheaper. Like I would love if that bad boy goes down to 185 or 200 because I want to be long cybersecurity for the long term. But if you're a trader, I mean, look, you're not going to get a massive bounce to the upside with all the overhang they have with lawsuits coming up. Steve does love Fortinet. Yeah, he likes that one. He likes the valuation on that. But see, this is the thing. You could like the valuation on the side. Cybersecurity is something you cannot afford to like nickel and dime on. That's why I think some of these cybersecurity names have premium valuations because their growth is so magnificent because they're able to grow because they can convince enterprises, hey, do you really want to, pay $1 million less, but like get hacked? So Fortinet, if you look at the channel checks, it's just not the same as CrowdStrike or Palo Alto, which is why those guys get a premium. So I would be long the best in the business, and the best in the business just got a 35% haircut. If you can get another 10% haircut, I think it gets really exciting. But those are my actual thoughts on CrowdStrike right now. CrowdStrike is still up 4% year to date. Many stocks are way worse off. Yes, that is correct. So it was up 30%. Now it's up 4%. Now we got another company that had earnings today as well, SFM. Those people might not know this, but this is one of the largest stocks in the IWM. Sprouts Farmers. I believe it's a grocery store, if I'm not wrong, or a combination of both. But Sprouts saw outstanding second quarter results thanks to exceptional teamwork and strategic focus. That is up 11% after hours. Net sales totaled $1.9 billion, 12% increase. Comparable store sales growth of 6.7%. Diluted earnings per share of 94 cents on the quarter. Sprouts Farmers Market. Let me pull it up. Yeah, supermarket chain. That's what it is, a supermarket chain. So they are one of the leaders in IWM. This stock is actually year to date, it's up 72%. Some of you guys might have shopped there before. I've never shopped there, but if you have, let me know. Matt says, I love Sprouts. They're the best grocery store. Yeah. So obviously it's something that has momentum. And over the past year, it's up 115%. It's very Abercrombie and Fitch like in terms of one of those underground names people just didn't know about. Market cap of this one is still $8 billion. So you got under $20 billion. Now it's up 12%. on the day. So this one has just had a phenomenal run. It's done very well. These are some of the gems that are in the IWM, but it's not been the easiest to find some of these companies right here, up 12% after hours. So today we essentially had McDonald's, Sprouts Farmers, on Semiconductor and Tilray Brands. Those are the extent of like the really kind of bigger names. Tomorrow we're going to see everything else and see how earnings turns out for other companies. It's low-key like Whole Foods. Dude, I've never been. Sprouts Farmers Market. So it's basically like organic stuff. I'm going to pull up their website as well. Yeah, their website already looks like they're selling more organic stuff. Healthy grocery, organic food, gluten-free, plant-based, non-GMO, keto, organic. Yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that's starting to gain more momentum, especially in more wealthier neighborhoods. I mean, like the wealthier neighborhoods that like don't have a Burger King on every corner of the street, they're probably shopping here along with also at Whole Foods. So SFM, that one up 72% year to date after this earnings as well. Cool. So that's what we got. Can you pull up EBS? EBS, I think we looked at this one last week. EBS, Emergent Biosolutions. That's up 5% on the day. I'll deep dive into this one. Market cap at 773 million. Yeah, I don't know much about this name, but I'll put it on the list and look deeper into this one. If it's in the biotech sector, XBI is the index that potentially gains some momentum when we get a rate cut. XBI is about 20% of IWM along with KRE. So those two, if they do well, we can see some momentum in KRE as well. IWM down 1.1% of the day, up a little bit after hours. Bitcoin still struggling at 67,000 based on that news of the US government potentially selling their Bitcoin. It's kind of like one problem after another. You have the German government, then you had Mt. Gox. Now you've got the United States potentially. It's just a lot of headwinds for Bitcoin, but still it's up from that 53,000 low on July 4th. So still doing okay over the past month. Is EBS also part of IWM? I don't think so. I'm not sure. EBS was $2 a couple months ago. Now it's $14.77. Oh yeah, it's had a good run. Yeah, it's had a really good. Wow, it was $1.42 on February 4th. Dude, we looked at a stock this morning also that was up. I think Serve that was up 14x in the month. This is up 14x in like 3 months. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're in certain sectors, and like Serve, they got the benefit of Nvidia, Vertiv, also the benefit of AI infrastructure. A lot of these stocks have quadrupled, if not more, in the course of a couple months because of that tailwind. And then in August 22nd, when Nvidia reports, that's going to determine a lot of the trajectory on those stocks. SoundHound as well. This one's down 6% of the day, but this one was at $1. It got to $10 at one point. Now it's at $4.78. Cool. Are you going to cover Jensen's speech? So I'm not going to be able to cover it today, unfortunately. I'm actually going to New York for something in about 20, 30 minutes. So not going to be able to cover his speech. But Jensen is speaking with Zucks today, if I'm not wrong. And they're doing like a fireside chat, I think. So it'll be good to watch that afterwards, but I'm not going to be able to stream it live today. I think that's at 6 p.m. as well on NVIDIA's website. So that's what you got there. Grindr meetup. Oh my God. Grindr, dude, I'm trying to get this thing at $9. This sucker just doesn't move. It just stays there. It either goes to 11:30 or 11:50. It's been stuck at 11 for like 2 months now. And it's not moving down. So I think it doesn't have the volume to really move up or down a lot. So earnings is going to be the catalyst. And I have a feeling on earnings, it's going to fucking spike up to like $15. And I'm not buying it at 11. I don't want to buy it at 11. I want $9.50. So I hope they say something on earnings that messes up the stock. But I don't know. That one has been stuck there. The thing is, there's more of a chance it falls than it goes up. I mean, it's up 42% year to date. I don't know if the street's going to give it that much more of a premium unless they just explode on the top line revenue growth. So I think if we see a nice 20% haircut, that's when we get excited for Grindr. He'll wait for $7 when it hits $9. Okay, I want to play one final clip and then I'll get out of here. It's a little bit earlier of an end to the market close because I got to go to New York. But here's a clip on Coinbase. So we talked about the bull case for Coinbase this morning. They got upgraded to $282 because of the S&P 500 potential inclusion coming up in December. Here's Dan Dolev, who's been very bearish on crypto and Coinbase for a long time. Here's his perspective as well in the context of Coinbase.
Important thing that's happening here as crypto, to me, it feels like goes completely mainstream, if not becoming a lobby with which politicians are trying to curry interest. That alone should put the Coinbase price target at risk, don't you think? I mean, at some point, it seems like it's all being fully integrated into the financial system.
Yeah, exactly. But our view on Coinbase is still negative. Look, if it's hard to fight the Coinbase bear thesis when Bitcoin is going up, although it's interesting today it's going down despite all the huffing and puffing.
Absolutely.
And Trump changing his mind and, flip-flopping from thin air to, the best thing ever. I don't know where Bitcoin goes, but what I know is that Coinbase is basically only 20-something% of revenue for Coinbase comes from Bitcoin.
I think he's so wrong about this, dude. I think his thesis is so off here.
The rest of the stuff, it's not really working as well. And eventually you're going to get take rates coming down. So if you really like Bitcoin, you should bet on Bitcoin and not Bitcoin minus take rates coming down.
Or now, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the successful launch of these ETFs, which have gathered a ton of assets. What does that tell you?
Look, it's definitely going mainstream, and I'm actually surprised to seeing, I'm sort of the camp of the old Trump.
The pure, yeah.
or just in general, I like productive assets, and to me, this is not a productive asset. But again, I'm not a Bitcoin strategist. I don't know where it's going, but it's definitely, there's a lot of people like it. I think there's some FOMO involved here, but either way, Coinbase makes a lot less money on the ETFs than they make on spot, right? They make a lot of money on spot. Couple percentage points. They make a very thin margin on ETFs. So if ETFs get big, revenues are actually going to become less dramatically high.
So this thesis, I think, is wrong for a couple of reasons. Number one, Dan is long Robinhood, and one of his points is well, Robinhood, you can trade stocks and crypto. I agree with that. The problem is if the ETFs get filled up with a ton of volumes, right? We saw the IBIT has more than the NASDAQ year to date last week, 18.9 billion. That theoretically, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if the ETFs are bringing in all this volume, spot price of Bitcoin should go higher. You are going to have a certain segment of the population that's just not going to buy the ETF. They're going to buy their Bitcoin, and Coinbase is the number one place to buy. Now, I think Robinhood's very competitive, given they're a lot cheaper to buy Bitcoin on, but still, the majority of people buy it on Coinbase. If that's the case, they will be increasing transaction volumes as ETF volumes go up, even if you can't buy the ETF on Coinbase itself. On top of that, the institutional custodian revenues, because BlackRock has to manage billions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin, will lead to more volumes for Coinbase as well. So I think Robinhood is a really awesome crypto play in terms of all the other elements it adds, along with the fact that there were 64% of crypto's trading volumes on Coinbase last quarter. But Coinbase is still the pure play here, and I don't think Bitcoin going up is bearish for Coinbase. I think if anything, that just increases the assets and the overall values. So I think Coinbase will do well, but that is one bear case to kind of look at when you think about Coinbase. Will the Jensen thing be broadcasted on YouTube? I'm not sure. You can type in on NVIDIA's channel and see if it is. I'm actually not sure. It should be, but if it's not, I'll make sure to get clips of it, and tomorrow we'll look at some other clips of them and Zuck's talking. I don't think him and Zuck's are going to say anything that's that different that they've already been talking about, but Zuck's has bought $20 billion of H100s from NVIDIA. So I would imagine they're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on with AI. All right, I'm done. I got to get out of here. One thing I will show before we leave for today, again, early show today, but we will have two very long shows tomorrow on the open and the close. Honestly, we're going to be, I mean, there might be a world in which we stream all day tomorrow. Probably not. We probably will end the stream at 12 or 1 tomorrow, but it's going to be a lot tomorrow to cover. In honor of PayPal tomorrow having earnings, I will leave you all with the infamous PayPal clip from February of 2024. Here was our reaction to the Q4 2023 earnings. Here we go. We'll get there eventually.
3% off. 3%.
Holy crap. Holy crap.
It's popping.
Holy crap.
4%. 5%.
Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap. 6%.
6%.
Holy crap. Oh, it's 67. I'm trying to get the numbers.
7.5%.
Let's fucking go. Shout out to Adam. Let's
Bro, that green candle is gonna go pop up right now, bro. 8.5%. 8.5%.
What did they know?
9%.
I'm trying to get this great. They had to announce something,
Oh,
dude.
9.3%.
Not
9.5%. 10%.
10%.
10%.
Okay, so we got Andrew. They beat revenue by about 40 million. Okay, so we got that number. Okay, here we go. They beat EPS by about 15 cents. I got it. They beat revenue by about 130 million. So there you go. You got to beat on the EPS and you got to beat on the revenue. You got to beat on the EPS. You got to beat on the revenue. And then the guidance numbers should be coming in very soon. And then the street will be able to react to that as well. Oh, we got to ring the bell for this, Adam. And this is when he realized he fucked up.
Bro, it's going back down. Now it's even. People are not liking it. Now it's down. 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 What the fuck? Down 5%?
How the fuck is this happening?
Bro, I have no idea.
You know
what's
the
happening,
Joker?
bro.
You know the Joker in The Dark Knight where he just starts laughing and then Batman keeps punching him and he keeps punching him and he just keeps laughing because all you can do is laugh? Dude, this was the funniest. This is the moment where, so you see Adam right here. So I'm ringing the bell. Adam, his face, it's a little blurry here, but his face, he just saw the stock fall. So I'm like, Adam, we got to ring the bell, dude. We got to ring the bell. Like, we're up 10%. Like, we're going to make a lot of money on this. I'm ringing the bell. And then you see Adam right here. He starts fake ringing it with his hand, but he's only doing it to match the energy. In reality, he just realized, holy shit, we should not be ringing the bell. This thing just tanked after it was going up 10%. And it was at this moment where we just realized that we fucked up. Adam.
Bro, it's going back down. Now it's even. People are not liking it. Now it's down. 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 What the fuck?
Dude, every time I hear his what the fuck, I like cry. I just like it was. I listened to this in the morning. I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, we had this PayPal clip. We have earnings tomorrow, so we got to post it again. It's the funniest thing in the world. The funniest thing in the world. We did go, for those that are new to the channel, we went viral on Wall Street Bets that day. Someone from the chat took that clip, they put it on Wall Street Bets, and let's just say there were a lot of very nice comments underneath the post. But no, it was funny, dude. It was very funny. And so I don't know what we're going to see for PayPal tomorrow. We'll be covering it. I don't think we get a 10% swing to the upside or the downside. That would be nice with just like a 5% gain and PayPal starts moving in the right direction. But that was the peak PayPal mania where everyone felt, all right, PayPal's undervalued. The street's about to get it. We're about to take off to $100. And now we're at 57. And at that moment, the stock was like 64. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. Adam right here in the chat. Dude, it was one of the best moments ever. It was one of the best moments ever on the channel and in the history of stock market reactions after earnings. All right, cool. I'm out. Thank you everybody for being here. Daily Pound episode will be out in a couple of hours. We'll go deeper into the Pound deal and the price action. Tomorrow's going to be a very long day. Again, just to reiterate, tomorrow in the morning, we start with SoFi. After SoFi, we get PayPal. Tomorrow's Tuesday. SoFi, PayPal, we have Pfizer, Merck, BP, and a couple of other companies in the morning. JetBlue, so we got a lot of stuff in the morning. And then after, we have Microsoft, that's big. We got Starbucks, given what happened last quarter, that's big. We have Pinterest, that's important. We have AMD, that's very important. We have Lemonade. We have a bunch of other companies. So tomorrow, after the bell, I mean, it's going to be like a 3-hour stream. It's going to be a lot to talk about. So tomorrow's going to be a big day. Make sure you're ready for it. And we'll see what happens. I'll be live at like 7:25 tomorrow because 7:30, I think we get the numbers. And then 8 o'clock, the call starts. So I'll be live very early tomorrow. It's not going to be 8:45. It'll be likely at 7:25 a.m. Eastern. Okay, cool. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I will see you guys tomorrow on the Market Open. It'll be a good one. And hopefully these companies do well. See you then. Have a good one, everybody. Good night.